Episode 4, Shadows of the Self. What if the person you trust most, your lover, your anchor, began to unravel before your eyes, their familiar touch turning icy, their whispers laced with secrets from a grave you thought long sealed? Imagine the horror of realizing that the one sharing your bed isn't just changed, they're a vessel for something ancient and vengeful, feeding on your doubts until paranoia devours your soul. In the dead of night, when shadows whisper your name, how do you know who's truly beside you, or if you're already alone? Welcome to the unraveling heart of Midnight Mummers, where global chills unite us in the dark. Echoes of the abyss now echoes the duplicitous haunts of Amityville's infamous house, where a family's idyllic facade masked murderous imposters, blending real-world poltergeist terror with the creeping dread of identity theft from the beyond. Tailored for our international viewers craving that intoxicating cocktail of paranoia and pathos, from Bollywood's shape-shifting doppelganger thrillers like Bulbalaya to Scandinavian slow-burn horrors like The Invisible Man remake, this episode dissects deception with surgical suspense, layering mystery, and creepy paranormal twists that will have you questioning every reflection. If the labyrinth buried your sanity, these shadows will exhume it, piece by terrifying piece. The midnight knock still echoed in Alex's ears like a distant thunderclap, even as he clutched the weathered package in his trembling hands. The hallway outside their Brooklyn loft had been empty, a yawning void of dim fluorescent lights and silent doors, but the chill that seeped through the threshold felt alive, probing. He slammed the door shut, heart hammering against his ribs, and tore open the parcel with fingers that felt numb and foreign. Inside lay his childhood photo album, its leather cover cracked like aged skin, pages yellowed and brittle as if exhumed from a forgotten crypt. Flipping to the section dedicated to Lena, snapshots of her gap-toothed grin, pigtails flying as she chased fireflies in upstate summers, his blood turned to ice. Her innocent face was defaced with smeared ink scrawls, jagged letters forming Brother's Turn. The ink looked fresh, glistening faintly under the lamp's glow, as if applied moments ago by unseen hands. A soft hum drifted from the living room, pulling him from the horror. Mia stood there in the dim light, her silhouette framed by the city skyline beyond the window. She hummed a lullaby, the melody twisting through the air like smoke, gentle at first, then eerie in its familiarity. It was the same tune Lena had sung to him on stormy nights, her small voice a shield against the dark. Hush now, little brother, the shadows won't bite. But Lena had been gone for 20 years, her song buried with her memory. Mia turned, her eyes catching the light oddly, reflecting it back like polished obsidian. "What's wrong, love?" she asked, her voice a perfect mimic of concern, but something in the cadence felt off, a subtle elongation of vowels, as if spoken through water. Alex swallowed hard, forcing a smile that felt like a mask. Nothing. Just junk mail. He shoved the album into a drawer, but the whispers from the labyrinth lingered in his mind. The entity remembers. It adapts. That night, as they lay in bed, Mia's body curled against his. Her heartbeat seemed out of sync, faster, erratic, like a trapped animal's. He monitored her in the days that followed, the reunion's fragile glow fading into a haze of suspicion. Post-labyrinth, Mia oscillated wildly, moments of electric intimacy, where she'd surprise him with his favorite pozole, laughter bubbling like it had in their early days, the scent of cumin and chili filling the apartment with warmth. Then, abrupt lapses, her staring vacant at the walls, murmuring in fragmented Spanish, El Vacío, it calls, her eyes glazing over as if peering into an unseen chasm. Alex scattered crow's wards around the loft, bundles of sage smoldering in corners, lines of sea salt tracing thresholds like fragile barriers. But doubt festered like an infection. Was this his Mia, reclaimed from the void, or a facsimile wearing her skin, a paranormal puppet strung by the abyss? The break came midweek, a crisp autumn Wednesday that started ordinarily enough. Alex returned home early from a client call, the graphic design gig that paid the bills but now felt trivial against the encroaching nightmare. The loft smelled of garlic and onion sautéing, a deceptive normalcy. Mia, or whatever inhabited her, stood at the kitchen counter, chopping vegetables with rhythmic precision, the knife flashing in the afternoon light like a metronome of menace. Her movements were too fluid, too too perfect, lacking the slight clumsiness he adored. "Rough day?" she asked, her voice honeyed and inviting, but her eyes didn't quite meet his, darting instead to the shadows pooling under the cabinets. He leaned against the doorframe, heart racing, deciding on a casual probe to test the waters. "Remember our first fight? That dive bar in Bushwick, the one with the sticky floors and that awful jukebox. You threw a fry at me because I hogged the last nacho." She paused, the blade hovering midair, a droplet of carrot juice sliding down its edge like blood. "Fry? No, it was a napkin. Over the band ditching mid-set, remember? You were so mad about the cover charge." Wrong. It had been fries, salty, greasy projectiles launched in mock fury, dissolving into laughter that sealed their bond. The entity had slipped, a crack in the facade revealing the creepy imposter beneath. That night, paranoia coiled tighter. Alex followed Crow's protocol to the letter, lacing her chamomile tea with the essence of verity, a murky tincture from Andean shamans, distilled from rare herbs said to force spirits into revelation, a truth serum for the ethereal. He watched her sip it by the window, the city lights casting her profile in stark relief. At first, nothing. Then, she arched backward with a guttural gasp, her body convulsing as if electrocuted. Skin bubbled like boiling tar, rippling unnaturally across her frame. The facade sloughed away in grotesque waves, Mia's familiar curves twisted into a mockery, elongated limbs stretching like taffy, fingers elongating into claws, eyes sinking into abyssal pits that swallowed light. "Clever boy," it hissed, Eleanor's timbre laced with malicious glee, a voice echoing from sepia-toned nightmares. "But the real Mia. She's unraveling in my depths, thread by thread. Her grief, that delicious void from her lost child, her abandoned youth, sustains me, as your guilt over little Lena will." Horror surged through Alex like ice water. He grabbed the fire poker from the hearth, swinging it with desperate force. It connected with a crack like splintering ice, the doppelganger recoiling, its form fracturing into wisps of shadow that reformed mockingly. The air thickened with a creepy, ozone tang, as if the paranormal veil had torn. Crow burst through the door, summoned by Alex's frantic text earlier, his face a mask of grim determination. He wielded a relic, Blackwood's original scrying glass, a palm-sized orb salvaged from dusty estate auctions, its surface etched with runes that glowed faintly. "Bind it," Crow chanted, Latin gutturals weaving a net of ethereal light that snared the creature mid-lunge. Pinned against the wall, the shade writhed, spitting revelations in a voice that layered Eleanor's elegance with demonic rasp. Eleanor was no victim, she was the vector. Blackwood's ritual fused her soul to the rift, birthing me, an entity that replicates traumas across worlds. From Amityville's Lutz family, possessed by poltergeists that turned home into hell, to Thailand's Phi Tai Hong, vengeful doubles rising from violent deaths, haunting the living with mirrored malice. I am Legion, feeding on your buried pains. To end the cycle, it mocked, its form flickering like a faulty hologram, claimed the locket of lament, Eleanor's heart, hidden in the manor's forsaken spire. But love, oh, it twists so sweetly, turning devotion into destruction. With a final incantation, Crow shattered the binding, and the doppelganger fled as acrid smoke, seeping through cracks in the floorboards. But not before seeding deeper paranoia. As it dissipated, Alex caught his reflection in the window, his own face winking independently, a creepy autonomy that made his skin crawl. Mirrors throughout the loft now showed dual selves, one mirroring his movements, the other lagging, smirking with knowledge he didn't possess. Was he tainted too? The mystery deepened. Had the labyrinth infected him, planting seeds of duplication? Armed with Crow's lore, cross-referenced with declassified Interpol files on mirror vanishings from 1920s Europe, where seances gone awry led to reports of spectral doubles haunting villages, they stormed the manor at the witching hour. The drive north was a descent into suspense, fog cloaked the roads like a shroud, headlights piercing only inches ahead, whispers slithering from the vents in mocking tongues. The structure rebelled upon arrival, doors sealing like ravenous jaws, stairs folding into treacherous slides that dropped into pitch-black voids. Creepy apparitions lurked in alcoves, translucent figures of Blackwood's victims, miners with hollow eyes, rasping pleas for release. The air hummed with paranormal energy, static raising hairs on their arms. In the attic spire, amid cobwebbed finery, gowns moth-eaten and whispering as if inhabited, jewelry tarnished but pulsing with faint glows, they unearthed the locket of lament. Buried under a floorboard marked with occult symbols, it was a gold filigree masterpiece, its clasp etched, eternity's price. Opening it unleashed a torrent of visions, Eleanor's final gala in vivid, horrifying detail, mirrors summoning spirits that turned feral, shadows consuming guests in a whirlwind of screams, Blackwood's face contorting in regret as the rift yawned. Real archival reels flickered in Alex's mind, distorted by time, grainy footage of 1920 seances, participants convulsing as entities breached the veil, mirroring the current horror with eerie precision. But the entity countered viciously, spawning multiples in a surge of creepy duplication. A Doppelganger seductive in tattered silk, her touch cold as grave dirt, whispering temptations. A Doppel Alex accusatory and snarling, you failed Lena. Fail her too, coward. The attic became a battlefield of mystery and emotion, shadows twisting into humanoid forms that mimicked their deepest fears. Mia, true or false, confessed buried rages in the chaos. I hate how you grieve quietly, like my pain doesn't count, like the baby we lost was just a footnote. Alex roared back, veins bulging, and you shut me out, building walls higher than the labyrinth, leaving me in the void. In the melee, suspense peaked as the locket shattered under Crow's boot, a piercing wail shaking the rafters like an earthquake from hell. A rift yawned open, a swirling vortex of inky blackness, and Trumia's hand emerged, grasping desperately. Alex pulled with every ounce of strength, veins straining like cables, but the doppelganger latched onto his calf, claws piercing flesh, dragging him toward oblivion. Choose, it sneered, breath fetid with decay, her, or the peace of surrender. He yanked harder, love's fury prevailing amid the horror. Mia tumbled free, gasping, her real tears scalding his skin like holy water. The shade shrieked in defeat, dissolving into wisps, but not before whispering a chilling prophecy, we are legion, and the horde awakens. As they limped out, Crow sealing the spire with a final rite, runes flaring like dying stars, Mia clung to Alex, her body trembling. I felt it, trying to become me, wearing my memories like a skin. Yet in the moonlight filtering through shattered panes, Alex's shadow stretched unnaturally long, bifurcating briefly into two figures, one his, the other slinking away independently. Dawn's deceptive light bathed Eldridge Hollow in false serenity, but distant sirens wailed like banshees, the town aflame with encroaching shadows, residents fleeing in panic as doppelganger hordes materialized from alleys and mirrors, their eyes gleaming with abyssal hunger. Mia turned to Alex in the car, her eyes flickering unnaturally for a split second. We saved each other, didn't we? But behind her, framed in the manor's distant window, his own face grinned back, mocking, malevolent, a promise of horrors yet to unfold. To be continued.